So I was lucky enough to be able to rent a Mamiya 7 II for the day, and today we're going to be shooting in Gowanes because I'm really excited to try out this camera. Because it's so cloudy today, I'm shooting Tri-x. I think I'm going to shoot black and white all day. It's just like really moody, and I think black and white will look really good. Is that the shot? So that's insanely quiet. I hope that that was the actual photo because the shutter on this barely makes any noise. I'm gonna try one more over here. So the way this camera works is that you have the light meter and the focusing in this viewfinder, and because it's the wide lens, I have this viewfinder up here for composing. So I'll focus through here and compose through here. Big one is Allison. Ready? That's insanely quiet. I'm so amazed. I want to take one more over here. Although I feel like we should walk around. Let's find a little open spot. This camera definitely just feels tiny, especially compared to my RZ. It's so small and it's super light to hold. I feel like I could travel much better with something like this than with an RZ. I'm trying to compose this back here without getting this stuff in the shot. That's already the first roll. As far as I can tell, that was a really nice shot. Like the curve of the tracks, the skyline in the background should be really nice. So this is really nice. You can protect your lens when you're loading your film. There's the curtain that covers it. I want to take one more shot here because I really like this view, but after that I swear I'm moving on. This is a good shot right here. I always like shots like this where the corners align because you get really nice leading lines, and the wood and all the bridge stuff right here has a lot of nice texture, I think. I think the shutter is actually in the lens of the camera itself, as opposed to like the Mamiya RZ has a whole mirror that goes up and down. This doesn't have that. It doesn't have a mirror because you have a rangefinder. I don't really know the area too well, so we're kind of just walking around and seeing what we find. It feels strange because I would never compose landscape shots on the RZ67, but somehow with this, the viewfinder, the way it's oriented, I just tend to compose landscape. I think it works well. One thing that I have noticed about this camera is that the closest focusing distance is really small. It says on here that the shortest distance is 1 meter, so I want to try and take a photo of Allison now and see how close I can get. So obviously that was the wide lens as well, but I still feel like that was moderately close. You definitely can't get those super close-up RZ style portraits that I usually take with something like this, but I feel like for being such a compact camera and a rangefinder, it still does pretty well. I have 3 shots left. I put about 4 rolls through this camera and it was really nice to shoot with. I'll talk about it more at home after I've seen all the photos because it's hard to make judgments about it without seeing them, but I'm gonna finish this roll. I finished developing and scanning the photos last night, and I have to say I'm really pleased with how these came out. I think it was a really nice moody day to shoot black and white, but also just in terms of the camera, I think these photos look great. There's something really beautiful about the 50mm lens that I haven't seen before. I've never shot such a wide angle lens on medium format, and I think it worked really well. In terms of the camera itself, I feel like I almost can't say anything about it because it's such a perfect camera. This is, I think in my world, the ideal travel camera. It's super light, but it still shoots that nice 6x7 negative, so you get a ton of detail, but you don't have to carry around something as big as the Mamiya RZ, which it's almost insane to me that it shoots the same negative as something this big and heavy, which is the Mamiya RZ67. This is what I'm usually shooting on, and it was so nice to be able to shoot the same quality photo on such a light camera. I think the form factor is what definitely sells this thing. I barely noticed it when it was hanging on my shoulder, whereas with something like this, I feel like I'm breaking my wrists all the time walking around when I'm traveling, and I really enjoyed that about this camera. It was nice to switch it up. The light meter on this thing was also incredibly accurate. When I was looking at the contact sheets, they look all just really well exposed, which I thought was pretty cool. Another thing about this camera is that it doesn't have a built-in light meter, so I have to carry an additional light meter. But the two cameras are for totally different purposes, honestly, and I also don't think I would ever replace this with the Mamiya 7 because of so many different reasons. In terms of the photos themselves, I think they have a really nice look. The black and white looks great. I think it was a perfect moody day to be shooting black and white. I have to say that this is probably my only complaint about the camera, but the viewfinder, which was on top of the camera, was definitely offset quite a bit from the lens. And there was one photo where I was shooting over this wall by the railroad tracks, and in the viewfinder, this bar that's in the photo was not in the frame, but it was in the end result of the photo. And I'm sure you can get used to that, but definitely just my first time shooting with it, that wasn't something that I took into account. I think it still looks interesting in the photo, but it wasn't my intention, I guess. So all that being said, I did have some light leaks on my last roll. I'm sure that this was because of how I loaded the roll and not because of the camera, but I think the roll didn't wind tight and some of the sides of the film were exposed when I took the roll out of my camera. I don't think they ruined the last couple photos, but they're definitely there and you can definitely see them. All that being said, I really like this camera and I would pick one up. Unfortunately, they start on eBay at about $3,000 with a lens, which that's even more than I actually thought while I was shooting with this camera. I bought my RZ67 for 550 bucks, so you could buy almost 6 of these for the price of a Mamiya 7 II with a lens. I don't know if that's worth it. The Mamiya 6 is a cheaper alternative. It shoots square and you can't get as varied with the lens options, but I think it's still a good alternative and I might look into picking one of those up in the future. That's it for this video. I want to give a massive shout out to my girlfriend Allison for helping me film this video. I'll leave her Instagram in the description, and while you're down there you can also check out my Instagram. It's @WillemVerb. I post a ton of stuff just like you saw in the video, as well as just my own work. That'll be in the description as well. That's it for now. Peace.